Hello, Libra. This is Adrian Igo, Capricorntigress of Astrology, a look inside, coming to you with your astrological reading for the month of November 2018. And I want to take a moment to say, I'm sorry I'm so late with the reading for you, Libras, for the month. It has been a crazy couple of weeks, and I'll probably share and spill the beans in a few moments. But what I do is I am an intuitive Western astrologer. So what I'm going to do first, I've come up with this little chart that I've come up with myself, and I'm going to go over what my personal take is for you Libras for the month of November. And then once I finish that, I'm going to actually go over the actual aspects that are happening in the month of November and discuss how that affects Libra. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is let me just get an idea of, for some reason I needed to make sure I had my amethyst with me. Yeah. Whew. Let's see. So a lot of emphasis for you guys is really going to be in that area, be what I call the first house quadrant. It's the first house, the second house, the third house, and even, some of that fourth house. It's really low. A lot of the planets they're kind of low in your chart this month. So there's going to be a lot of consolidation about things that you need to really consolidate, I guess. It starts out with that Venus that's retrograded from Scorpio back into Libra, and then it goes back into Scorpio. And so, we're dealing with that crazy retrograde. And so that affected your first house most of last month, and now it's affecting your second house as it's in Scorpio. And also there's been Jupiter in Scorpio almost all year. You guys have been kind of lucky when it comes to money, or what you have, really. And with Venus going home to the second house, Venus being in the second house, it's been kind of weird, because the thing about that is Venus naturally is the ruler of the second house. That's the house of the home of Taurus, right? And so naturally, it really loves to be in the second house. But it's not in Taurus. It's opposite Taurus. It's in Scorpio. So there could have been some real confusion with love recently, just because it's confused. Like, wait a minute, what are you doing? Like, it's not in the sign it should be in to be home. Like, Venus is home, but it's like it's wearing it's like a wolf in sheep's clothing. So it's I don't know how that would have affected you, but man, that could be really a strange experience. I wonder how that's affected you guys. How strange. I just realized that. Now, the other thing is, during the month, Jupiter, which has been in that second house in Scorpio, is moving out of Scorpio. So that's going to be moving into Sagittarius. And Mercury is already in Sagittarius. And the sun's going to be moving out of Scorpio into Sagittarius too. So a lot of that emphasis that is on that second house, what you have to give, what you own, and your things, what you already own. And that could be anything from the food you eat, to the clothes you wear, to the car you drive, the house you live in, or just the love and care that you actually have to give to others. This is highlighted. And with Venus being in Scorpio, I'm just wondering if somehow the love got twisted. I'm just wondering about that, because Venus is also your ruling planet. So it all should have been very good, but the thing is, it was retrograde. So who knows how that really played out, because then it went into its own home and it's not in the right sign and it's probably in deep confusion right now. Pluto and Saturn. Pluto and Saturn are in your solar fourth house. And, you know, that could indicate some issues with your family too. Like I could see where there could have been arguments with family, maybe power trips, not so much that you have a power trip, but there just could have been general power trips in the home because of Pluto being there. Pluto, you know, wherever Pluto is, I always look like there's someone or something that's vying for power. And it can also indicate things like jealousies and stuff like that, deep psychological hidden things that make people cause arguments with each other and they're not even aware of it. Saturn, of course, is responsibility, and that's down in the fourth house. So I can see where family could have been, you know, just seem like a really heavy responsibility to you this year, over the last couple of months in particular. Probably starting to feel that. The crazy thing is that, you know, Pluto is square Libra when it's in Capricorn, and Saturn is going to be square Libra when it's in Capricorn. So, you know, these are squares from your home life or your family life to you, your physical body. And I don't know if that means you know, how that will play out with you and your family. I don't know if it's a time you can heal old problems with your family. But I can see with Pluto going there, Pluto likes to just like tear down and build up wherever it goes. So it could have been a breakdown in the family or in the home or something like that. But I feel like you'll be able to regenerate and rebuild it. If anything's happened to your home, by the way, if you know, I you know, knock on wood, I don't want to say anything like a robbery or fire or anything like that. But if anything has happened to your home, just know with Pluto there along with Saturn, Pluto would tend to rebuild and regenerate whatever was lost, if anything was lost. And that's a good thing. Is, you know, it's like the phoenix rising from the ashes, but in this case, it's happening in your solar fourth house or your natural fourth house. So we'll see how that works out. Mars is going to be moving from Aquarius into Pisces, and you've had the luck of Mars in your solar fifth house, or you know, like the natural fifth house for you Libras, all for a while, I think all year. But now it's moving into Pisces. And that's going to put the emphasis into more of an area of work and your health. You're going to be thinking about your health, and you're going to be thinking about work. And with Mars there, just be cautious that you don't, there's not maybe misunderstandings, because Mars can be aggressive. And so I could see maybe like either you being aggressive to coworkers or coworkers being aggressive to you. And I don't know if that's something you really want to deal with, you know, having that kind of thing going on. Neptune has been in your solar sixth house or natural sixth house as well. And that is retrograde, but it's going to go direct in the month of November. And that might make things go smoother in work and with your health, because you might have had questions about your health. I don't know why I keep thinking you've had some questions about your health. You've been concerned maybe about your health, worried, not sure about your health. Also, you could have been worried, concerned about your work, just questions, just unanswered questions. I don't know why I keep thinking there's some unanswered questions, but you are going to be able to get these things answered now. You're going to be able to, when Neptune goes direct, you'll get some answers to your health and your work that you felt like you couldn't get a straight answer on before. And so that's good. Also, Uranus is teetering between that eighth house and seventh house of, you know, because it's going from Taurus to Aries. And when it goes retrogrades back into Aries, you might, again, I'm thinking you might have some issues with your partner. your partnership. I'm hoping your partner doesn't suddenly like disappear out of the blue. That's recently happened to me. I had a Taurus husband. I hope that you guys, your Aries husband doesn't do the same thing. But, you know, it might just be that if things haven't been right, when it retrogrades back in Aries, it'll give you a chance to hopefully work out um, some problems that might have been there. Because Uranus is reform. I mean, I could see you guys kind of reforming your marriage and changing your partnership, changing things. Change is good when Uranus is around. Always accept whatever Uranus is giving. If you resist Uranus, it always seems to get explosive and weird and erratic. So whatever that change is, just flow with it, flow with that. Okay. Anyway, this has been my take on your chart for the month of November. And what I'm going to do now is pull up those aspects and go over those aspects with you. I'm actually starting from today, which is the 8th of November, because I'm late and it's the 8th of November. Okay. But here's the good thing. Jupiter goes into Sag today. And maybe that's why I feel so good that I could come and spit these readings out today. I'm so proud of myself. And Jupiter enters Sagittarius. It means optimism is going to return. In your case, that Sag is in your solar third house. You're going to have like this desire, or at least a ability to communicate again. You're going to feel good when you talk with others, and especially when you're talking with friends and your like family members, like aunts and uncles and cousins and sisters and brothers and nephews and nieces, and you know, it's just like that. And like people in your community and your neighbors and stuff like that, because the emphasis is going to be down in that area. You may feel a need to write, like journal, or speak or make videos. It's all about communication, all about written communication, spoken communication, in-person communication, like meetings, proposals, you know, whatever, appointments, all of that. I can see a lot of that going on during the month of November. On the 9th, Venus is going to trine Mars, and Venus is right there at the very last degrees of your first house. And Mars is in the very last degrees of your 5th house. I'm wondering if this gives you that last final chance to work out whatever issues you might have in your love relationships. I think if there's any problems, this is the day that you can work them out. You can have inner harmony, inner balance. I see it would be affecting you, your first house, and your 5th house. I could see it being very positive. So I hope you take advantage of that day on the 9th. A week later, well, almost a week later, on the 15th, Mars does enter Pisces. So it moves out of that solar 5th into the 6th house. So again, that's going to be putting that emphasis on your health and on your work. And so, but with Mars being in Pisces in your 6th house, I want to just mention something. And that is, Pisces is not at home when it's in the 6th house. And this is because the 6th house is the natural house of Virgo, which is the opposite of Pisces. So I really want you to spend or pay close attention to your health and to your work this year, because Mars is in a sign, in a house where it doesn't belong. Okay? All right. Be aware of that, because it could really affect things. And that, yeah, because Pisces is very compassionate and they're very sympathetic. I can see you maybe even working in a more compassionate field while Mars is in Pisces, or doing more nonprofit work even. I could see, yeah, definitely that happening. On the 16th, Mercury retrogrades in Sagittarius and Venus goes direct in Scorpio, all on the same day. And the Venus going direct in Scorpio is a very good thing, because that Venus is going to be in your solar second house or in the area of what you own, right? What you possess, what is yours. And with Venus there, it just means you can probably grow and start getting some really nice, pretty things during this time. If you, I could even see you buying something big, actually. So, but yeah, when Venus is in the second house, I can see you buying things, amassing things. You're growing. It's time for growing for you. And Mercury retrograde in Sag, it just means, you know, with all that emphasis in that third house of communication, when Mercury goes retrograde, you got to be careful about what you're communicating about now, because retrogrades tend to have us get a little confused about things. So I would really recheck, re-examine, just look over everything twice, maybe 3 times before you send anything out in the mail, or before you post something, wait before you post it, that type of thing, because it's going to affect your third house. So yeah, that's really important. Okay, right. So we talked about Mars square Jupiter. Did I talk about that one? Right. No, I don't think I did. On the 19th, Mars, which is in the 6th house, is square Jupiter in the 2nd house. I think that's what I was just talking about there. That square, that activity that's going to be coming from your house of work to your house of money. And I always get a little bit worried whenever I see money and work not getting along. Like, wait a minute, I need the money when I work, and I need to work to make the money. So let's just hope it all works out well for you. On the 20th, the sun is trine Chiron, and that's going to be a good time to heal. That Chiron is in your 6th house again. So that's again your work and health. It's just a good time to heal your health this month. And the sun is going to be down in the 3rd house. And Chiron and Mars are going to be in the 6th house. And you can heal old wounds, old pains, old insecurities. So this goes deeper than just physical wounds. I mean, it could be spiritual and psychological wounds too, because Chiron does that. We carry around these old pains from 10, 20 years ago, and we don't even realize we've got this crazy pain in us. Well, this is going to be an opportunity to heal those old wounds, those old pains. And I hope that, you get a chance to do that. On the 22nd, the sun enters Sagittarius, but the moon is full in Gemini. So there's going to be this big pull between the 3rd house and the 9th house. And I've been warning every sign, but I'm going to warn you guys more than any other sign. Do not get into a verbal debate with anyone today, especially a Sag or a Gemini. Please don't do it. It will lead to nothing. It will get you nowhere. It is not a good idea. There is a full moon in Gemini and a very active, happy sun in Sagittarius. And so I would just not get onto the debate about like politics and religion and just any of it, legalities, education, any of it. I would just stay mum, really. Spend time with your family and be kind to others. It's going to be one of those days. Just know it's one of those days, and avoid all arguments at all costs. On the 24th, Neptune is direct in Pisces. So that's the day when clarity hopefully comes back, and people are going to start acting like decent people again, hopefully. And it should give you much more clarity in your work than you've had over the last few months. On the 25th, the sun is conjunct Jupiter, and that's in that 3rd house of communications again. And Mercury, well, that's the next day, but the sun is conjunct Jupiter on the 25th, and that day is said to be the luckiest day of the year. So just know your communications, that's going to affect probably Mercury too, because on the 27th, the sun is conjunct Jupiter again, but it's also conjunct Mercury. So they're all kind of conjunct each other. And Mercury is like retrograding. So imagine what's going on in the third house of communication. Just be careful of just saying too much. Just maybe saying something that might tip the apple cart. You know what I mean? Try to stay in a neutral zone when you're speaking to others, because it could be very positive. It could be very positive for you guys. Yeah, very much so. I can see you going around your neighborhood, doing stuff, going shopping, doing things, hanging out with your friends, in the neighborhood and stuff like that, or family. But just, be aware that Mercury is retrograde and that Jupiter is on it and the sun is on it. And so it could really highlight some problems with communication that day. And finally, on the 30th, Venus opposes Uranus. And that is never a good thing, because Uranus is teetering right between like Aries and, it's in Aries now. And this Venus is kind of like, or is it Taurus? I always get this mixed up because I think Venus is opposing Uranus from a opposite sign, because Uranus already went into Aries, right? But Venus has already gone into Scorpio, but still they make the opposition. So be aware of that on the 30th of November, and that it could be some relationship problems. There could be something that affects your relationship, and be aware that, Uranus is sudden things could affect your love or your love life. And so it's really good to be aware of that, so you can avoid any of the troubles that could cause. One of the things I didn't talk about, but I think I will just mention it really quickly before I go, is that the North Node is moving during the month out of Leo into the sign of Cancer. And so it's backtracking from your natural 11th house or solar 11th house into the 10th house. That's career and ambitions and reputation and your boss and publicity even. And you've got Cancer there, and the North Node is going to be there. So it's going to be a really good time coming up over the next year or so, where you can really start to shine in your career. You can really start to shine. So I just wanted to mention that before I go. And this has been your reading, Libra, for the month of November 2018. And this has been Capricorntigress of astrologyalookinside.com. Please be sure to stop by astrologyalookinside.com and subscribe there. And please like and subscribe our YouTube channel. And if you are on Facebook, I do give free readings, or general readings anyway. I do a free general reading for people who request them in my group on Facebook at Facebook/group/astrology-a-look-inside. And be sure to like our page on Facebook at Facebooks.com/astrology-a-look-inside. Okay, guys, this has been my reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful November. And thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Have a good one. Much love and light to all.